Basin Motorsports for another day here on the channel. So today is a double header weekend, day number 2. So I kind of mentioned previously that I was going to go to 2 different car shows on a weekend, and last night was the first one. It was an evening, it was 5:30 to 7:30, and then today is the second one that is going to be from 4 to 8 in town. So one thing I noticed last night was that my alternator is not going to keep up with these headlights. So if you think back, I have driven this car roughly about a year, and every time I've driven it, it's always been in the day. So at driving around, even at idle, it will sit in the high 12s to the low 13s for voltage. And that's, I never really messed with the headlights while driving. So now even with the demon eyes on while driving, it'll still run in the low 13s. At 13.1 right now, just kind of cruising along at 55 in the corners. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what happens is when I turn the headlights on, so you have 2 55 watt bulbs running for 110 watts, the voltage tends to drop down to like 12.4 volts. When I turn on the brights, which means it goes turns on all lows and all highs, you are then running 440 watts against the alternator. While that doesn't sound like a lot, the alternator I'm running, I'm guessing, is probably somewhere in the 60 amp range. Now, most everybody, when they upgrade to a one-wire alternator, typically go up to like 130 amp, which should be able to handle these headlights just fine. But at idle, what happens is it basically drops it down into like the high 10s for voltage. So one thing I was having trouble with last night is I idle in basically the gravel driveway I've shown you guys where I walked and all that stuff. That is downhill and it's rocky, so I kind of idle the car in and basically just let gravity kind of take me in a little bit at about 10 miles an hour. That way I don't bang the exhaust on rocks and that. And it started surging last night, just like it had a really healthy cam and it just and what it was is there was so little voltage that the car was having trouble staying running. It wasn't even idle, and eventually it died, which is no fun because these tires are just massive enough that they're hard to turn with no power steering going. So what I ended up having to do is to kind of feather the gas a little bit, keep it up going, and I turned off the brights, turned them back down to just low beams, which is fine for the road, but it's something to know going forth that I can drive with high beams on, but the minute I get to, if for any reason I have them on in town, which I shouldn't, but for any reason at idle, the high beams are just too much for this alternator. So add that to the list of things I need to fix later. I need to add a new alternator, which I'll probably just get one. I think PA Performance is probably the one that everybody probably thinks of, or it's touted the most. I think most of the parts stores do that, or parts places. So I'll probably look at that. Somebody did tag US alternators, so I'll look at theirs also. They had some nice stuff. And the other thing I noticed is that my dash bulbs for the gauges in that are absolutely pitiful. I think half of them may work, and they're just horrible. So add that to the list of LED upgrades that'll go on the car. Eventually I will do all the dash bulbs. So today, other than driving, we are headed to car show number 2. I headed out a little early from the house today. I'm gonna go take it to a car wash and spray out the tires and all that stuff. They're supposed to do some photos and then I thought I'll dress it up, make it look better than I did yesterday. Yesterday I just drove it into town dirty and showed it because I really was just like, whatever. So today, because everybody's taking pictures, I'll at least dress it up a little bit with a little bit of wash. So let's go to the car wash and see what happens with trying not to blast the vinyl with the spray nozzle itself. Alright y'all, so we made it here. Car ran good on the way in, still got that hesitation. What the hell's on with this car? Anyway, this is a lot different from what I normally do. So normally it's like older cars, 50s, 60s, some 70s, 80s. This stuff is gonna be a lot more import and a lot more I don't know what you want to call it. I'm just gonna call it import because it's not old school muscle. It's like new import, new domestic muscle, that kind of stuff. So let's check out these cars, show you the difference between them, what I normally show you guys in old school to the new school and the turbo guys.
Street runners, guys. Still got 2 steps. Are you ready? Are you ready? Go! Oh! He's sleeping on the line! Sweet slow-mo right there. All right, foot race. Are you ready? Are you ready? Go! Go, 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 go! Haven't had that turbo. Oh, looks like we're both lined up on the line. When he drops his hands, you guys run. Are we ready? Here we go. Go, 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 go. Oh, man. Oh! He crossed the line.
All right, so we're headed back to the house. So we get a little more stable here. We're getting back to the house. So, it seemed like they had 5 awards today. Best domestic, best engine bay, best tuner car, best import, and best of show. So, the guy that won best engine bay and domestic was the guy that owns 541 Wraps, and he has that maroon think of it, I'm not sure what he calls it. It's like a ruby red Mustang. It's a 2015, I think. It's a bunch of hydrographics. Really nice car. I mean, it's definitely something I would say yes to engine bay and domestic. Second thing was the import and the tuner went to one of the Mitsubishi Evos that was tuned up to about 500 horse. So definitely both of those there. And then best of show, I'm not sure who picked up that one. I didn't see the car, so I know what the number was, but I couldn't tell you what car it was. So either way, nice show today. Obviously they have some good fun, having some foot races, talking trash at each other and all that stuff. So good show. It was free, and I was happy to get into town. So stopped, got some gas, got some Subway for dinner, and I'm just cruising back home for trying to get home before dark so the headlights don't have to mess with me. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you had fun watching this this new car show today called the Klamath Car Invasion. I'm sure we'll have more of those. I'll try to keep an eye out. I thought it was a good show. It was a fun show, something different, definitely. So thanks for watching, guys. If you're new to the channel, thanks for subscribing. Otherwise, back to the garage. And we'll see you next time as we get it back into the Suburban Wrap and some other stuff on the 86.